You are listening to the Masculine Mindset Show, a podcast for men to develop a backbone, a masculine purpose, if you will, and get more physically attractive, and even become more mentally healthy. All you men listening, I turn nice introverts into fit, self-entitled savages, if you will. And you might even become a little cocky as a result of your G status. More importantly, you guys, I also show you how to flirt and date more women and seal the deal. Just look at the show notes. They are all on my blog articles. Let's get into the content. Masculine Mindset Show. It's Adam Skoda back on with James. This is Mental Toughness, round 2. All right, so you guys, I want to talk mental toughness again because I really loved that first interview where basically we talked about gratitude, we talked about eliminating bad mindsets in your social life and not being perfect and just owning who you are with your imperfections. But this time, I actually want to talk about the fact that champions invest in themselves. Because I was talking with James before I started rolling, and this is how I met James, you guys. Like, I met James through the fucking legend, Wes Watson himself. And I would not have met James or even Romero on one of my episodes. It was Why Men Must Stop Suppressing Their Masculinity. Or even like Hannah Spanky too. I would have not have met these people if I didn't invest in myself. So I want to get your take on self-investment, James.
Well, it's definitely important. I mean, investing could be multiple things. You don't got to be just money. You could be investing your time and your health, investing your mind and, mental health, and investing your time in other people. But, I mean, as far as money, I definitely spent some money in Wes Watson program. And like we was talking about, the fact that he took me to a level of what I felt was extreme for me, to apply discipline in my life when it comes to what I eat, and to apply discipline in my life when it comes to working out my body. I've also invested in myself, my own personal company. This is my brand, President's Closet, raising the mindset of everybody to the highest level of leadership. So he also talk about that, investing in your brand and investing in working for yourself, eventually investing in yourself, basically, when it comes to every aspect of life, your work, your job, your mind, your body, and everything. So it's definitely something I feel like all men should do as leaders of their household and their little communities that they're part of.
So fucking true, dude. You know, I believe I said this on my podcast before, but I run an LLC on my blog, you guys. I believe I mentioned this on, was it our episode, Why Working Out is the Gateway to Discipline. And you guys, for me personally, my mental toughness comes from just never tapping out of podcasting, because you guys, I think I told this story already, but I was about to step down from podcasting because Joe Liverman offered me a writing opportunity. Joe Liverman, you guys, if you know who he is, he runs the blog Masculine Development. And I really was looking forward to this. He had big plans, and he basically wanted me to be a regular writer for him when it comes to pickup and seduction, right? And so when I found out that he took his own life, I was in disbelief.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yes, he took his own life. Yeah. And then after that, whoa, dude, I got the chills right now. Oh my god. I got the fucking chills right now because sometimes, James, when I talk about this guy, I think I can sense his energy around me. It's crazy, but I am sensitive to energies. I'm very intuitive. I always tell my listeners, right? Listen to your conscience and follow your intuition. Again, that tip, you guys, is from my hardcover book. I know I talk about masculinity here, and I know that listening to your conscience might be tapping into that flow, which is technically feminine territory. However, I want to remind my listeners this: you can't cut off that side of you. I've been learning the hard way too many times that you need to be connected to your higher purpose. You need to be connected to your higher self. You need to be connected to your masculine purpose, the higher purpose, masculine purpose. Same thing. Point I'm making is I am sensitive to certain energies, and every time I talk about Joe Lieberman, I get the chills. So, but yeah, I was about to take on a writing gig. He took his own life, and then after that, shortly, I actually started working with his partner. Actually, I technically sign up people for another entrepreneur. I believe I told you this already, James, but we don't have to talk about who I'm doing that with, because it's just, yeah, no worries on that. But the whole point is the fact that I want you guys to understand something. Mental toughness for me comes from not quitting. For example, writing on my blog and not quitting podcasting, and also, more importantly, just being fucking stubborn, because that was something that I related to Wes on a lot. I noticed that he's very stubborn because he tends to like not listen to people, right? I kind of got that vibe from him when I was talking to him in Trainer Eyes, but either way, that's a side tangent. The point is this: I believe that there's a thing called healthy stubbornness, and when you leverage that to me is mental toughness. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you definitely don't want to quit on anything that you set goals towards. You don't want to quit on yourself, whether it be your health. You don't want to quit on your financial growth. You don't want to quit on others, because you got to be a role model in your community. Yeah, you just definitely don't want to be a quitter. Even if it's something that you like might have realized that this is not for me, but that you've been able to like just see through to make sure that this is something that you didn't want to do. To quit and not even like fully experience something, to be able to make that evaluation and be like, oh, this is not for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you can't quit on, because you'll never know. You'll always be questioning, like, what have I been able to do that? Or would that have been fulfilling in life purpose for me? So quitting is definitely not the answer. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. So I'll just give you guys an example to like really apply this in your everyday life. In my program, Alpha Body Blueprint, which James knows about, I showed him the sales picture already. Didn't I show you that? Yeah, I have big transformations, you guys, massive transformations. And so I am working with another coach right now who's helping me basically just take that offer to the moon, which I'm stoked to do. But that's a different story. But the whole entire side tangent is this: the example of not quitting is to have no days off, right? Of working out. Right. So I will, you guys. A lot of people they will see my schedule for Alpha Body Blueprint, and they're like, Adam, you have us doing double workouts. Like, this is an insane amount of workouts. But I'm saying, guys, just you do the first workout, right, early in the morning, and then you do the feeder workouts, which is arm feeder workouts. It's basically high volume, and it's like a lower weight, but we can talk about feeder workouts in a little bit. The feeder workouts are designed to be done in the evening. So that, in my opinion, is mental toughness to the max, because just doubling up on workouts, it's not easy for the average person. So I'm going to challenge my listeners to see if they can do double workouts.
No, definitely. I mean, I've done double workouts for sure. I've done triple workouts where I've worked out in the morning time as soon as I woke up, work out in midday around 12, 1 o'clock, and then worked out at nighttime. So definitely whatever your goal is, if your goal is to build muscle, lose weight, or whatever it is, to just be more active and feel a lot more healthier with your body and your mind. That's why we sign up for these programs. I signed up for many programs to be able to accomplish these goals that I set for myself. So if I'm signing up for a program, I can't quit on myself. I can't quit on the program. Obviously, I paid this money, but regardless of that, I'm still quitting on myself mentally, and that starts to build a negative rapport with yourself to be like, oh, it's okay to quit, type thing. So double workouts. If this is what your trainer is telling you to do, because he knows the way, he's had results, he's done it before, and you're going to him seeking out results, then it's like obviously you want to listen to the person that's telling you what to do. So if that's the way to go, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Do you know Rich Piana? He's massive bodybuilder.
It sounds familiar. Is he back in?
So I actually found out about these feeder workouts through Wes. Now, some of my fans asked, so Wes had an influence on your program, and they want to know now, like what influence, right? So basically, he told me and a ton of other people on a Zoom call, right, about Rich Piana feeder workouts, and that was what I was like, whoa, I really want to look into this. So I actually researched what it is, and then guys, listen to me. Are you ready? 100 skull crushers and 60 hammer curls, and then I'll do creatine when I'm done. And I'm telling you, you guys see my results in the show notes. You will feel pumped from that. You will.
Sound like, I mean, yeah, you'll definitely feel pumped doing 100 regardless of what the weight is. I mean, there's not too many people doing 100 of anything. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. Like, I mean, I was, doing those things, but it's definitely a hard road to get to that point for sure. So, but that's definitely something you could get a pump. And I've seen results in myself just working my way up to 100. And, I'm sure people can't start off at 100, but whatever weight level they start off at depends on wherever they begin at too. But, if you like big pumped already, you could, doing 100 at 20 pounds, 100 at 50 pounds. It just depends on the level.
Yeah. So what I wanted to really challenge my listeners on now is to go in the show notes, find my free article, you guys. Yes, this is free. How to use Rich Piana's feeder workouts for maximum gains. And yes, I have a video of Wes in there because the whole point is I'm giving my readers and listeners a free workout where I say I heard about feeder workouts through Wes. Now, if you guys want to practice mental toughness, I'm telling you, do that, right? Feeder workouts. It's going to be a challenge. It's really going to be a challenge. And I'll switch gears in a second on other topics on mental toughness, but I wanted to give my listeners another challenge because I will do this. So I will do feeder workouts on top of abs. So on Sundays, for example, I will do 100 skull crushers, 60 hammer curls 3 times, right? And then I'll do stability ball crunch, hanging leg raise, cable crunch for 5 rounds.
Nice. I used to do like 12 different ab workouts, and each workout I did were 4 sets of hundreds. So I did that every other day for maybe a year straight. And I mean, yeah, I definitely haven't continued in doing that. But yeah, I definitely got the results. Definitely knowing knowing that I can get there and do that gives me the confidence to be like, I can always get there again. I mean, I try not to stray too far away from where I was at that time and doing that. But yeah, like I said, 12 workouts. Each workout was 4 sets. Each set was sets 100 times. Scissor, and I did a lot of floor. I did like I said, floor hanging, curls, scissors, bicycles, knee crunches, just a whole bunch of different ones, like 12. I would take like a 25-pound plate and then do sides to get the side action of the abs and all that type of stuff. So yeah, definitely. And it feels good when you can do 100 of anything, really.
110%. So, guys, I want to take a different approach and talk about just clearing your mind. Now, this is something that I really value on basically how I talk about on the intro of my show, getting more mentally healthy, right? So, daily meditation is another way to get mental toughness because a lot of guys out there I've noticed they're like, "Oh, Adam, I'd rather work out. I'd rather go do something else. I can't quiet my mind. It's hard for me." Like, okay, all right. Well, let me ask you something. If you have 5 minutes of your time where you literally scroll and go through basically consumption porn. There's such a term called consumption porn. You're consuming too much shit, right? And that's what I'm challenging my listeners a lot today, right? So instead of doing consumption porn, right, do daily meditation. I'm telling you, gotta do it.
It's definitely necessary.
I would argue that daily meditation has saved my butt in many throughout my entire life, James, that just doing at least 10 minutes of daily meditation, that is like a life-changing habit. It really is. And, we were talking about more spiritual topics before we started the interview, how James reads the Bible. For me, I meditate. I find that when I meditate, I connect with the universe, source energy, God, as some people would say, right? That's how I basically will connect to my higher self, is daily meditation. So,
I mean, that's definitely a sense of prayer as well. Like you look into yourself and look into those areas in which you don't normally think about that your mind wants. I mean, because Wes talks about it all the time, where like he'll close his eyes and random thoughts just come to his head, and it'd be thoughts that on his heart tells him he needs to change in his life. I mean, me personally, I pray openly, eyes closed, and I'm like, dear Father God, help me, with things in my life that I'm struggling with, and I go into further detail, did different things like my bitterness, things that I'm angry with, and then who am I angry at? People, my family, and help me forgive myself, help me forgive them for the acts that they may have done against me, or help me, just not quit on myself, just whatever you feel like you're dealing with. That's kind of what I do. And it helps me, I try to think of everything. I try to just have no stone unturned as far as what I try to think about. Even if it's being grateful, I'm grateful for where I'm at in my life, even though I'm feeling like I'm not in the best place, but I'm still grateful to be alive and be here and be able to even, make this connection with God, with my higher power. And then like you said, and then I open my Bible and read scriptures, and because to me the Bible is, God's living word, and it's like me listening to God talk back to me, and I read scriptures and it just reconfirms and strengthens and gives me more faith and builds foundations in my life, that when I do fall short or when I do get angry, because we're all human and we're all gonna not be perfect. So we're gonna get angry, we're gonna get mad, we're gonna get frustrated, we're gonna be bitter towards other people that's committed acts that we feel hurt our soul and hurt us and made us and gave us pain in our life, because there's a lot of things that we can't control that people do, but we still get hurt over, you know what I mean? And in that moment, I like I say, I try to read my scriptures so much to where these scriptures are just pop into my head to soften my heart and to just allow me to remember how I'm supposed to conduct myself, how I'm supposed to let go of these emotions in which I feel and not allow these emotions to manifest and stir and turn into bitterness and turn into acts of violence or acts that I may regret later on. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. That can lead us to our next point on mental toughness, right? I have a tendency to come 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 completely unpeeled on some of my podcasts, right? Because I sent James my episode on basically how Wes kind of like he was responding to someone on the Fresh and Fit conference, and I basically took the side. Obviously, we're both in GP. We know that we're gonna stick with Wes to the bitter fucking end, and so when I hear that podcast, James, I'm like, wow, Adam, you are extremely apathetic. Like I will critique myself, and I'm like thinking, do you really have any empathy, Adam? That's what I'll say. Do you have any empathy? So it's like I have to watch that because sometimes I literally don't care about people who say to me, "How do you work out, Adam? How do you get so committed like that, bro?" Like as I say, right? Stop being a fucking casualty in war and just go to the damn gym and don't make it so hard on yourself. So it's just like, yeah, that's me not giving a shit about certain people who try to like come into my inbox and say, "How do you stay that disciplined?" Well, here's what you do: look in your pants. Remember that you have a dick and balls. There you go. So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we definitely, I mean, I feel like, I mean, as a man, everybody should work out and push themselves to the brink of what they feel like they're capable of when it comes to working out, kind of crucify your flesh is what says, But I feel like sometimes for some people it's easier to do because we harbor pain, we harbor, you know, hurt and aggression, and we can allow working out to be a release, a place to go release these things in a healthy way. But some people, haven't been through things. Some people haven't been through nothing in life. Some people has lived a life of comfortability all their life to where they can't find the grit in them to pump that iron to push themselves, like some people don't have a good enough why. And what I say, like, why am I doing this in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, is my goal just to, be artificial and to look good for my lady, for the girls, for people? Like, is that your why? You know what I mean? At a certain point, I feel like you might not want or care about how other people receive you. So then your why may die down and then you may have a different why. But for me, the greatest why, if you've never been through anything, if you've never received any pain, is the fact that you are a man. And as men, we do need to hold ourselves to a certain standard in life and uphold ourselves as a role model in our community amongst other young men and boys and kids, and in doing that, that those are foundation and building blocks on, because again, I may not, not me, but someone may not have been through anything that make them, want to. But just as a man that has kids, you still want to provide that mentorship towards your kid and building blocks and foundations for them to be disciplined and not to always sway from side to side in the wind when they don't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like when you feel uncomfortable, to stick to what you were doing and put your head down and grit and grind through whatever it is you're doing, whether it be work, whether it be talking to someone, whether it be just going about life in any kind of manner. So yeah, working out is, I feel like, is definitely a good foundation when it comes to applying it to every aspects of life.
so I actually wanted to briefly touch upon this because I mentioned this in my hardcover book, right here I have in my hand. Um, I talk about eliminating vices, including porn, and that for for me, and also I think a lot of other guys listening, that is really powerful way to get more disciplined and stop wasting your life away watching a fantasy on your computer. You guys, it is a fantasy. Okay, you watch porn. That is a fake way of how people fuck. It's just like, guys, when you actually seduce girls for real, that's not what you see. There's a lot of preparation involved. Guys, I've people are gonna ask, oh wait, Adam, you've met porn stars? Yes, I have. But here's the thing, Charlotte Stokely is who I'm referring to right now. But the whole point is, here's what Charlotte said, right? She said there's a lot of preparation of like how men and women prepare for their scenes in porn. I want you to think about that, you guys. There's a lot of preparation involved when, like, do you guys realize that, like, oh, I'm just gonna take off my clothes and start getting freaky with the opposite sex? You guys have to understand that real love, you guys, real love is when it's like just you and one other woman, and you two are basically privately having fun, right? In private, not in front of a ton of people on camera, right? And the whole point that I want to get to my listeners right now, because I know I do have a tendency to talk about sex on my podcast, but the point that I want my listeners to think about is porn is a fantasy. And I want every single one of my listeners to really digest that right now. So when you watch that, you are not only giving these entertainers your money, but in my opinion, the best way for you to get mental toughness is to stop watching porn. Drop the porn, go to the gym, do something that involves you basically starting up a business. Guys, I have over 100 articles. I'm reaching 150 now. And I'm not saying that shit to like, oh, this is what I've done. No, I'm giving you an example of what stop watching porn did for me. Okay, I probably haven't watched it, I want to say, in 6 or 7 years. Completely true. And
No.
it's because I was like, I felt horrible after doing it. And that's when I realized this is not a good habit men have. It's not. So I know I'm talking about a sticky subject matter right now, but understand this, you guys. Every time you watch that, you are giving porn stars your money. That's like going to a fucking strip club and saying, oh, take all my resources because I don't believe that I can do it myself outside of the strip club.
No, for sure. I agree. I too struggled with porn for sure. I'm sure as all men, you know. But again, when I came across Wes and he started laying down foundations for me to build different disciplines in my life and allowing the gym to be that release, that place that I replace these different negative habits that I was having on, um, to replace that. And then in doing that, you definitely start to see your mind go to different places and see your mind develop strength and see yourself not going to those old ways and then seeing that you see yourself grow and that's where the discipline that you see yourself growing in, and that's how you build the discipline part on yourself. I mean, it's been what, maybe like a year for me since I watched porn, but I've definitely like went to just the thought, being lustful as far as looking at women and being like, oh, she got a big butt, or like, oh, she got big breasts, and even then I still fight myself when it comes to those thoughts. And even like, wanting to be with a woman or just, I mean, I feel like, at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to different women, but to just dwell on the thought and go into a mental fantasy, like you said, and see yourself touching or having sex or, to do it on those levels is definitely like a bit much. So I definitely, continue to struggle with that area as far as lustful thoughts and catching myself and going into a deep level of fantasy world with when I see a female that I'm attracted to, and I have to try to continue to remind myself. I just want to uplift and encourage. I just want to uplift and encourage the women that's around me. Um, and as I continue to meet or, or get to know a woman, then we have common interests, and again, for me to build a friendship, to build a foundation on which why we connect. For me, the biggest foundation that will be everlasting and never die is a foundation of spirituality and with God. So that's kind of like my first conversation when I'm talking to a girl to see what she believes in and where's her faith at and things like that. Because to me, that's the most important foundation to have with a significant other. But yeah, like you said, men who are watching porn, it is a fantasy world. And it does, how Wes says, it does make you rely on the endorphins that your mind releases when you go into that feel good ejaculation or that feel good moment in which you're completing the action that you're doing. And it's just, that endorphins, you're
Yeah,
just releasing those drugs in
yeah,
your head over and over. So you
yeah.
don't want to you don't want to build that because your body relies and tends to depend on those drugs, those endorphins, just like any outside outsourced drug that has endorphins in it. You depend on the inside source in your head that releases those same endorphins. So
You, dude, I got the chills right now. But sometimes I get the chills when I'm about to say something really good. So, what on James's points, I wanted to ask him real quick. Have you heard my episode with Hannah called "How to Flirt with"? Yes, it's called "How to Flirt and Banter with Women." Have you heard that one?
I think I'm not sure how many different episodes you have.
Yeah, that one is a good one for you to check out, James. It's banter increases masculinity. And I actually have that written down word for word in my hardcover book. Banter increases masculinity. And what the whole point behind that is, so really, if you think about it, when you start that back and forth, how Hannah and I did the guessing game, okay? So some dude commented and said, "Yo, Adam, you got her age wrong." And I'm like, that doesn't matter. The point is this, you guys. The point of banter is to not be perfect. It the whole point is for you to go back and forth. That's how you build comfort. Okay? So I guess her age, got it wrong a few times, and then she told me her age finally, and then we started going back and forth a little bit more towards the end, right? So the point is this, you guys, that back and forth builds comfort. 110%, it builds comfort, and that right there puts the man into his masculine energy and the woman into her feminine energy faster than ever. That's what I have written in my hardcover book. So think about that for a second, you guys. I do touch upon these topics for a reason, because I want my listeners to know what can get them to improve their testosterone, masculine energy. And one thing, dude, sometimes I enjoy bantering more than the actual act itself, actually getting laid, because it's just like there's so much tension going on, and then everything leading up to it is what in my mind is more powerful, because it's all that anticipation. So me know if that's your experience too, but I wanted to wrap up my podcast with talking a little bit about dating because I always touch about this topic. So
No, I definitely agree. Women for sure love that aspect of interaction with men more than we do. I feel like men are a little more physical, a little more visual, but I've come to like, get past those feelings of physical and visual and now I do enjoy just, the conversation or the mental connection go that you go into when talking to a girl when I mean not yeah trying to just figure out what she likes while at the same time asking her right before you so I'll talk to a girl and then I'll try to think what I think she's about to say and then I'll actually like what do you like to do and then I'll just try to like assume in my own head what do I think she likes to do and just to see if I'm right about it or whatever. um But yeah, just being curious of what they like to do. What do they do with their time? How do they go about their I mean, just like myself, just what I do in my time, what I like, how I go about me asking you. But obviously, when you do it with a woman, it's just the opposite sex, so it's just a little more curiosity there compared to the same sex, and just like most guys do, what most guys do compared to what a woman does. But I mean, everybody have different perspectives, different lifestyles, different, um, backgrounds in which they come from that makes them different, of course. But I definitely enjoy just talking to a woman and getting to know who she is and what her values are and what her morals are and what she likes to do with her free time and where is her disciplines in her life. And yeah, so definitely agree. I enjoy that more than the act of just having sex with a woman. But to me, that makes the sex a lot more better when you're connecting on those levels, when you're connecting on those mental um areas, as far as each other's lives. So
yeah, dude, it's really about the banter too because when the more powerful the banter is, the better the sex is, right? So it's like you guys when I've had the best sex with girls is it's always been banter leading up to it and again it's fun stuff, fun times. All right, guys, I know I'm kind of random, but I wanted to actually give my listeners something kind of hilarious to say that I'll do sometimes. I'll just be playfully extreme. I'm a great conversationalist. I have pretty hazel eyes. I'm sometimes self-amused, but for the most part, I follow my own lead. So, boom, just be random and just say whatever the fuck you want. Because that right there, you're lowering the bar and you don't care anymore. Again, when you don't care, that is a good thing. So, don't care about what other people think about you when you make these hilarious lines up. Because that right there, again, so you have to be creative. You have to think off the cuff. That's what artists do well too. They just say whatever the fuck they want, and then that can lead to good banter. And then they're like, "What? Wait, Adam, what was that?" I was like, "Bro, I said I'm a great conversationalist. Are you a great conversationalist?"
I would say I am. I mean, to me, a great conversation is like you said, not caring what other people say, but being true and honest with yourself and how you feel and what you do with your life and in the moments when nobody's looking. You know what I mean? Like I like to people watch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious in what people do, where they go, why they make decisions, and I can just enjoy myself sitting at the top of some tower watching all the people down here on earth just running around and doing what they do. But to other people, that may be a creepy, that may be weird, but that's just something that I enjoyed to do. But I know I can't do that. But when I'm at work, people watch, see what people do, why people do what they do, see just to see them smile, what makes them smile on their face, what makes them angry, what they're doing that makes them feel frustrated and things like that. So just being honest about yourself and the things that you like to do and things that you do mentally and physically and being comfortable regardless of what anybody else feel and knowing that this might not be the person that likes you for who you are, but you're still being honest with them about that. So how they react may show that, and that's what it is. But again, to just not even care if you realize, oh, this person feels weird about what you do, but to even question them, why do they feel weird? Like what is to question them, what is wrong with that? You know what I mean? Why can't you do that? Have you tried doing it? You know what I mean? So that's what I like to do.
James, did you know that natural girl magnets are very curious? I learned this recently, and I was like, that's interesting. So I want to give you like a quick little reframe there. Instead of saying, oh, it might be a little weird to people watch, but if you're curious, then I would say that's the
And that's what it is for me, but other people may limit their frame of thinking and see it as weird, you know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah. It's as long as you have good vibes and all good, man. So guys, I'm actually going to wrap up this podcast here. We talked about mental toughness. We also talked about like eliminating vices. And guys, I get my mental toughness from never tapping out of my fucking online business, as in James basically touched upon many things. I would say, what's the biggest aspect to mental toughness that you have basically can take away from this episode?
you just said not tapping out, because there have been many a times where you feel like, why am I doing this? Who cares? Do I care? Like, am I seeing results? Like, there'll be many times where you feel like nothing is going your way, nothing is moving in motion, and just keep on pushing. Even with my business, you know what I mean? Like, my business isn't to where I wanted to see it be. There's been times I have a business partner, and my business partner may not be moving on the same page as I'm moving, and I get a little frustrated where it's like, man, well, just fuck it then. We won't do nothing. Like, well, I'll just wait around and do nothing, and if it go down in the dirt, then it go down in the dirt. But just to like in those moments stay positive, and just, you don't know what people are going through, you don't know what God got waiting for you on the other side, so just keep pushing. And I hear everybody say this, from Joe Rogan to David Goggins to like all the mainstream influencers, that there's gonna be days where you don't want to do it, but those are the days that defined someone being successful, is because they continue to push through and continue to do what they don't want to do when it feels uncomfortable, or they feel like it's not going anywhere or showing any results. So
Yeah, you guys, another great point to what James said, and yeah. So something that I do not enjoy doing is basically cold approach by myself, because when it comes to that field of dating and an attraction is all right. I'm going to make this very brief right now. I am talking to two girls right now. However, before I was talking to these two girls, all right, I would cold approach, and I this is my humble opinion. My thoughts on this topic changed. I wrote an article basically about my experience in New York, and basically cold approaching 100 girls. I learned that they are guarded as fuck. Okay? You, the listener right now, I want you to understand this right now. Girls will reject you. They will. I want you to be prepared. They will reject you. So, mental toughness for me also ties into dating, okay? Because if you don't like cold approach, then that's where you gotta go, okay? But my thoughts changed on that because I actually think it's kind of try hard. I would rather go out and approach with a girl by my side, because that is a warm approach. There's cold approach, you're by yourself. There's warm approach, where you're with someone. So that to me is a great way to practice mental toughness. So yeah, I mean, if there's anything you want to wrap up on, I think we covered all kinds of topics today. So
yeah, just being persistent. I mean, when it comes to the dating, just being persistent. I mean, I heard from so many women that, like, there's so many things that you don't know what she's dealing with. If she rejects you, try another day, try another moment in the day, you know what I mean? Like, don't give up. Like, let her, like don't let one time be all be, like the final decision and saying like, oh, well, she don't want to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like allow it. I feel like you need to let her tell you, I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like you. I'm not interested in you. You're not my type. Like, like let her say all these things to you. For for me, that's what I would need to hear. But, to be rejected is just like, oh, she didn't give me a sign that she liked me. She didn't give me a sign that she, was interested. She didn't laugh at my joke, or she didn't take my offer on going out on a date with her. She didn't say, oh, I'll go out. Or, just because she didn't say, I'll go out on a date with you, or yes, she might have said, oh, I'm busy, or like, oh, I can't right now, or whatever. Like, she didn't say, oh, I'm married. She didn't say, oh, I'm dating someone right now. She didn't say certain things. So there's certain things that like I need to hear to really feel like this girl is it interested in me, compared to just saying like, oh, not today, or I don't want to, or so just don't, like you said, don't quit or don't give up so easily when it comes to the dating realm. Just kind of be persistent, give it another shot, keep giving it a shot. When it comes to the dating realm, I mean, I'm not date. Well, I mean, I talk to women all the time, but I'm not like dating them as far as like going out and taking them out on dates, or even asking them to go out on dates. I mean, right now in my life, I'm soon to be baptized within the next 2 weeks. And then in my baptism, I'll be dating. In my heart are women that are also baptized, because they also have that relationship with God in their heart. So once I'm baptized, I'll be solidified in my heart to then, feel secure that God is in my life, and things of that nature, to then pursue women, because I'll have a foundation of God that I also have a foundation in God. And then to me, that'd be dating, because then I'll be asking women to come out on dates with me. Do you want to hang out? But I talk to women all the time and ask them, oh, what do you like doing? Or what do you do with your free time? Or why are you here at work? Or what do you do for work? Or, who's in your family? Or are you the only child? Or, just like you said, being curious about the opposite sex, because I mean, I don't know, it's just natural to be curious about anything really. But right now in my life, I mean, most men's life, they want a woman. So it's like, that's the curiosity, where the mental curiosity comes from. It's just wondering what they like to do, and if we have things in common to where we both like to do certain things. And if she's done things that I've never even done, or and it's like, oh, well, I'm curious about that. Can you show me more of this hobby? Can you just take me out? So it's not even about just the objective is to figure out how can I get this woman into bed. It's just, to just get to know the woman, and what they like, and if y'all have common similarities, and just take it from there. But yeah,
Yeah,
don't give up.
yeah, yeah. I like that. I want to mention one more quick point before I wrap up here. That is, you guys, what James said is super fucking important. You shouldn't try to like, I guess, kind of go in your brain and try to like come up with ways that you can get her back to your place, because that just puts you in an outcome dependent mindset, and then
Exactly.
just not a good plan, because the girls can actually pick up on that vibe more than what you think. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this podcast. That was a great episode on mental toughness, dating, and also even touch upon eliminating vices and fitness. It's just a little bit of everything that we touch upon on the Masculine Mindset Show. So I love that. All right, James, it was awesome having you on. Go follow him. I'll put his link in the show notes to Instagram, the Chizeler.
Sizzler, President's Closet. And yeah, those are my two. I mean, I also, sell solar. I also, yeah, do other stuff. But those are the main two things that are like actively LLC business orientated that I'm actively doing right now. I also trying to start my own podcast, and I'm inspired by this man right here. He's one of my,
Oh, nice. That's
yeah,
awesome.
to start a podcast. So
I have to go on your
I'm
podcast. I have to go on your podcast.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's definitely I trying to formulate, what I'm gonna call it, and just set out a business plan on how to be consistent and all that type of stuff. So I'm definitely have to hit you up and ask you some questions. So, but
See,
I'm honored of being here. Appreciate you having me on. It's always fun time having these conversations about how we think we should be as men in this world that we live in.
yeah, absolutely. Love that. It's a great place to wrap up on this episode. All right, you guys, please leave me a 5-star review. I'll see you on the next episode. 2 books that I want you guys to always look for on every episode of mine. That is 77 Ways to Develop a Masculine Mindset, and the second one, Closer's Guide to Seduction. All right? Now, the third one that I recently released to you guys right now, yes, it is a book, but it more or less is a fitness course called Alpha Body Blueprint, how to get the lean, shredded physique of an alpha male. And yes, you guys, it is up to 4 hours of content. Alright? So, there's a reason for the high price tag. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for listening to this podcast.